Hey, it's me, MLB. Here is chapter 82 of Touched. This one is titled Stupidity. Miranda did a dramatic gasp and burst into fake tears. "I'll have you arrested, Brian," she wailed melodramatically. "People like you need to be removed from this town." "I'm sorry," Brian said with a raised eyebrow as he popped a hip out. "People like me?" "Yes, like you," she replied sharply. "Care to explain, Miranda?" Jasmine said in a calm voice. There was a tense silence as Miranda debated whether or not to say what she meant. Then she spied Anthony with a sleeping Hiyoko in the baby carrier on his chest. "Is that a baby?" she asked suddenly. "Yes, it is, Miranda," Anthony replied bluntly. "You two shouldn't be allowed to look after a baby. You'll turn it gay," she said in the most ignorant voice that they had ever heard. Anthony immediately lunged at Brian to hold him back and only just managed to get to him before Brian threw hands. Say it again, bitch, I dare you," Brian seethed loudly. "Get your hands off me, Anthony Bruce Lynn. This bitch needs to be put in her place," he spat as he tried to break away from Anthony's grasp. "I know, Bri, I know, but I don't want you to get slapped with an assault case," Anthony said lowly. "I don't care at all," Brian replied darkly. "Okay, bitch, you listen to me now," he said, pinpointing Miranda. "The ignorance radiating off you reeks more than your cheap perfume. You can't catch being gay, unlike your stupidity that is catching," he said sassily. "You need to check yourself before I check you for you." "You gay people are ruining our society," Miranda snapped back. "You know who is ruining our society? Cheating hoes. That's who," Brian shot back. "Yes, that's right, honey. I'm talking about you. We all know what you've been doing behind your man's back," Brian said with a smirk. Miranda blushed with embarrassment. "So I suggest that you head back to your den of lies before I call your man up and spill the tea," Brian said with a snap of his fingers. "At least this little baby here is coming from a loving home and will know his worth." Miranda pursed her lips as she stared Brian down. "You got 3 minutes to disappear, sweetie," Brian said with a fake smile. She huffed loudly and stormed past everyone to the door. "You'll be hearing from me," she snapped to Jasmine. Brian immediately pulled his phone out and rang her husband, staring Miranda down as he waited for her man to pick up. "Hello, Jav," Brian said in a happy tone, and Miranda paled. "Don't," she gasped as she raced over and snatched the phone from Brian's hand, hanging up immediately. "Okay, I'm sorry, she said in a broken voice. "I won't come over here again." "You bet your overpriced flowers you won't," Brian replied with a flamboyant darkness as he took his phone back from her. She turned and left quickly. "God, this place is so full of bad energy now, it's not even funny," Brian said with an exaggerated shiver. "Quick, Queen, you need to get out of here before it puts a damper on your crown," he said to Jasmine as he ran over to the spray bottle on the counter, with Norman running beside him. "Begone, thought!" he hollered as he sprayed mist all over the salon. Bri, it's fine," Uncle Anthony said in a panic as he tried to stop his flamboyant man from wetting everything in the store. "Did you actually call her man?" Jasmine asked Brian curiously. "You bet your perfect self I did. I don't threaten to do something unless I know damn well that I'm going to follow through," Brian said as he popped his hip out and held his hand up, then closed his fingers over to his palm. At the small cafe nearby, Ewan Hawkes were chatting up a storm. He was telling you stories from work that he had backlogged from when Hiyoko had been born that he hadn't had a chance to tell you about yet. And then he yells, "I'm going to kill you with cake." "Oh my God," you scoffed with a laugh. "Well, I mean, it was his quirk after all." "Yeah, but the best part was he actually started making cake from random parts of his body, pulling ingredients out with this really super evil grin on his face, and I honestly couldn't take him seriously," Hawk said with a laugh. "I started giving him directions and it threw him off his game." You laughed, quickly covering your mouth to stop yourself from being too loud. I yelled, "No, wait, that's too much sugar," Hawk said with a carefree laugh as his golden eyes shone. "And he gave me this really mortified look." You continued to laugh. "Then, when he eventually threw the cake at me, I reached back for my feathers and sliced it open with the blade feather mid-air. You should have seen the look on his face. I was like, 'Did you not know I had a weapon?' And he just shook his head really sadly. 'Oh,' you said with a chuckle. 'Poor guy, he must have been so deflated.' No, but when my sidekicks arrested him, he said that he was more upset by the fact that I had just completely ignored his cake and had just let it fall to the floor. They told him that I was more of a chicken man anyway, and that's when he broke down. Man, you really do meet all types, you said with a warm smile as you leaned forward on the table, quietly stoked that you had such a hot, funny hero for a husband. He chuckled lightly and leaned forward as well, a cheeky, needy look in his eye. You felt his leg graze yours under the table and you blushed with excitement. How about we get out of here and head back home, huh? He asked slowly with a smirk. Just you and me. You gave him a coy smile and looked away as if disinterested. I don't know, you teased. I mean, have you got what it takes to get me going? Oh, he said with interested surprise. Is that a challenge? Just then, Brian and Anthony stormed into the cafe, and you could tell immediately that Brian was pissed. What happened? You asked as he approached the table, with Norman doing a little puppy gallop beside him. That bitch! Brian spat angrily. I need to calm down, he added, fanning himself rapidly. You looked past him to Anthony, who was walking up with an awake and happy Hiyoko in arms. It's a long story. We'll tell you all the details later, but Miranda from the flower shop said something really stupid, and it's really set Brian off, Anthony sighed. She was way out of line. Oh, that's terrible, you said sadly as you stood up and reached out to hug Brian. Girl, I'm about to snap, Brian said emphatically. I'm going to walk up into her shop and snap the head off of every one of her daisies. Brian, please, Anthony replied. She's not worth it. You're damn right she's not worth it, he seethed. Hawks took the happy Hiyoko from Uncle Anthony's arms and held him up happily, making a little weird chirping noise which Hiyoko seemed to love a lot and was squeaking and smiling in return. You glanced at Hawks. He seemed a lot happier now that you and he had had some alone time to reconnect. Did you want to go home, Bri? You asked the livid glitter bomb. Yes, I need to cleanse myself at my shrine, he said dramatically as he continued to tut around almost as if he needed to go to the toilet. I'll bet it's a shrine to Beyonce, you thought. You looked over at Hawks to see what he would say. Yeah, I'm good, he said with a smile. Let's go. You nodded, a little saddened that you and Hawks had only had about a half hour of alone time together. Once back home, Uncle Anthony told you about what happened. You were just as upset as Brian at that point, and all of you engaged in a bit of a bitch session about Miranda. After everyone had calmed down a bit, Brian pulled Hawks aside. Okay, it's all right. It's just a fictional story. Breathe deeply. Miranda is not real. It's okay. I can feel the anger radiating through YouTube. Yes, I understand. Okay, we're just going to take another deep breath in and we're going to move on to chapter 83 that's coming tomorrow.